Okay, now we're going to remove these two condenser mics, and we are going to put in a wireless mic. Now the cable from the wireless mic will be coming from the wireless mic's receiver. This particular receiver I can come out either with XLR or with TRS or with TS. I'm just going to go ahead and come out with a TRS cable because it's balanced and a TS cable isn't. And even though this equipment that I have is really good, anytime you can use a balanced cable instead of an unbalanced, you're better off because there's just a way, because that way you eliminate any chances of ground hum. At any rate, before I pull these cables out, I want to make sure that both my levels are all the way down, and they are. And then I want to turn this around. Let me pull this headphones out. I was monitoring earlier. I want to make sure. Then I want to turn my I turn my two gains down in the front. Now I want to turn my level all the way down here in the back. And now I can go ahead and turn off the phantom power. Bam. Once I've turned off the phantom power, then I'm free to go ahead and disconnect these inputs here. So I'll disconnect that mic there. This is especially the case with condenser mics. Condenser mics are super sensitive, and they've got a bunch of electronics in them, and you just can't take the risk of giving them any sort of a voltage spike. So now I'm going to go ahead. Actually, I'm going to have to maintain radio silence here in just a bit for a second because I'm using that wireless mic right now, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to disconnect it from the tube NP unit that's amplifying, that's sending the signal to the computer right now, and then I'm going to hook it into my USB DualPre. So I'm going to go silent here for just a bit, and then I'll be right back. And that's about all there is to it when you are using another amplified source. In this case, it was the amplifier of the wireless microphone receiver. Now, the one thing, or a couple things to keep in mind with that, is that since it is an amplified source, you can adjust how strong the signal is coming from that source into the DualPre. Or you might be coming off a mixer, which is also an amplified source, obviously, or off an MP3 player, whatever. Microphones, as a general rule, are not amplified sources. Normally not. They can be, but normally not. So you don't really have to worry. You don't have to worry at all about adjusting how strong the signal is coming in to your DualPre. But with an amplified source, well, now you do, because the DualPre itself is an amplifier, and you're sending an amplified signal into an amplifier, and you always have to be really careful with that. So basically, that's why I always stick with noon. Well, that's why I always stick with nice neutral settings. So just make sure when you come off an amplified source into the DualPre that you're not sending it too hot a signal or too weak a signal at the same time. Just be aware that you need to factor in that signal. And if you're having problems with the strength of your signal, if you're getting distortion or if it's too weak, remember, check how strong the signal is that you're sending into the DualPre. And now it's time to go on to tutorial number 07.